Good morning and welcome everybody to this Concise Webinar. This one is on AI for business, and what an explosive topic that is. Good morning. My name is Richard Keeves and I'm going to join today with Caleb Mcglew, who's just joined Concise. Caleb's in Sydney, joined Concise, coming on as a director of Concise after bringing Caleb's agency into Concise as part of Concise. So Caleb, welcome.
Thanks, Richard. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and it's also really good to welcome you and the various skills and talents and experiences that you have to be part of the Concise team. So thanks very much. It's great for you to be here and sharing some of your thoughts and contributions. So that's great. This is a Concise webinar, and for those people who haven't seen a Concise webinar before, we try to keep them relatively short. We try to keep them concise, educational, and no waffle. This one, we do try to keep them about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. This one we thought 30 minutes, but I think it's going to go longer because as we were putting this material together, there just seemed to be such a lot that we needed to cover. Okay, so AI, we've all heard about it, I guess, artificial intelligence. One of the key things to think about is that it is an enabler. It gives people the ability to do things that they couldn't do before with clever machinery, clever tools, clever systems that use the data and learn from data. It's being used in such a lot of areas at the moment. And clearly one of those areas is in business, small to medium-sized business, not just huge, big businesses that can afford to play around with this stuff, whether it works or not. We're not going to go into a lot of detail on a lot of those things because today's focus is really about how we can use AI in business today with affordable and effective tools. There's lots of different ways of classifying AI, and we're not going to talk about a lot of that stuff either. It gets very technical. We don't pretend to be experts in AI, but what we do understand is the digital world and how the digital world is transforming everything that we sort of take for or understand about business. So there's lots of different ways of classifying AI, but the way that we're going to use today to talk about AI for business is two types of classifications. There's behavioral AI and there's generative AI. And if we sort of think about that in the context of how we use, and we, the business people and business people with websites use AI, it kind of starts to make a bit more sense and we can make it more relevant to business. So basically with behavioral AI, it's based around learning from behavior. It understands and predicts behavior by learning from data about behavior. So the AI is trained on massive amounts of data and large amounts of data. Your website, for example, may not have masses of people going to it compared to Amazon's, but it may well have enough for people to be able to learn what goes on for the system to be able to learn what goes on your website and then relate it to predicting behavior of other people coming onto your website. So it's all about finding patterns and trends in that behavior and then using that data to make predictions. Caleb, do you want to add anything to that?
Nope, I think that's a fairly good and concise explanation of behavioral AI.
Okay, so it's already in use in lots of different systems, in lots of different places. And in fact, when you sort of look back on behavioral AI, it's been around for a while. Amazon first patented a recommendation engine back in 2001 when Amazon said, hey, if we know what people have done before, what they're clicking on our website, what they've bought before, we can then start to predict what they might want to buy next. And we can start showing them that. And it's been around for a while. This is in itself is not new. There's lots of new angles to it and lots of new usage to it. But when you sort of think about it, the ability to recommend things is based on behavior, and the ability and what someone's done before is potentially a good guide to what they may do in the future. Netflix uses it at the moment. When you watch a movie on Netflix, it then shows you things that it thinks you might like. Facebook personalizes ads, and so it goes on. So this behavioral AI is learning from behavior. And then how can we use it within small business? How do we use it? Well, to personalize the user experience on websites and in apps and in various other sort of digital products, basically so that we can make recommendations and it can show people things that the system thinks that those people want to see. It can be used in marketing campaigns. And the example that we've got there is about finding the best time to send emails to customers or target ads to specific groups of people. Fraud detection, businesses already are using it that way. And Xero, for example, Xero accounting software has AI built into it now to detect things, to detect potential issues around that, as other software does as well. And customer service, there's already applications for using AI in customer service. We're going to be talking a bit more about some of those later. Specifically in different web tools that are available, Google Analytics uses predictive analytics so that it can then say, okay, here's what people have been doing, here's what they may do in future. In CRM, such as Salesforce is enabled with AI to score leads that come in and to predict how you may want to nurture leads that come in. Zoho is another CRM system which uses AI. Klaviyo, marketing automation tool that's used in a lot of Shopify websites, and we use Klaviyo a lot for a lot of our clients to be able to target, and the word that we got on the screen there is hyper target, to be able to really specifically target messages to individuals, both in emails and SMS campaigns. Xero, as we talked about, accounting software, it's already enabled. And a website search tool that we like a lot is DoFinder. And DoFinder uses behavioral AI to improve the search experience on websites.
This is a really clear explanation, and it's a really great tool that can be implemented in any website that uses search. And obviously, as you touched on before, all of those legacy businesses like Amazon, Google, etc., obviously use AI and have their own search AI search built. So this is a really good alternative to having to go and build your own. It's a great plugin, plugs directly in with a range of websites. And as we come down here, this kind of shows you how it does work. So let's say you had two different people. You had Daniel and Vanessa who are interested in different things, and they might be searching a website that has a range of different products. Let's say it was like an Iconic or something like that. What they would do is they might be searching differently for different things. So Daniel would be going through the website and looking for things like pants or regular clothes, and Vanessa would be going through and looking at things such as these boxing bags. What DoFinder does, and this is really, really exciting, is that let's say Vanessa was to show a lot of interest and to also make some purchases of boxing or equipment, exercise equipment like that. And Daniel would go through and make some purchases like a suit jacket or things like that. What DoFinder would do is, as they then would search, let's say it would be for something like gloves, is they would get hyper personalized, as you said, recommendations rather than just normal search tactics. So what it would do, it would give you a far better search and user experience across the platform.
Yeah, so based on the purchasing history or purchasing pattern, or even just viewing pattern, then Daniel is searching for gloves, Vanessa's searching for gloves, but the system is showing Daniel gloves that the system thinks Daniel is interested in, and Vanessa is getting shown boxing gloves. Can she find other gloves? Of course, but the system is prompting what it thinks she's interested in. DoFinder is a very cost-effective tool. If you want to know more about it, let us know. We're a DoFinder partner, and we have got access to lots of info about DoFinder. It's a really good tool. Okay, Harlow, anything more to add on that one?
Nope, nothing more to add on that one.
Okay, so that was a quick look at behavioral AI. The interesting, I guess, the thing that's captured the world's attention lately is generative AI. Generative AI that actually helps generate content, generates new content with systems that, instead of being trained on behavior, as behavioral AI systems are, it's trained on data about content, and it then uses that data to generate new content that's similar to that which it was being trained on. There's lots of applications for this in art, in creating music, creating images, writing content. ChatGPT obviously is one of the more popular, well-known examples. Developing new products, translating languages. There's a work of what we would probably consider to be art that was entirely generated by AI that won an art competition. Caleb, do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really interesting one, and kind of shows how long generative AI has. It's such a relatively new thing. In 2022, sorry. What's it called? His name was Jason Allen, and what Jason Allen did was entered this into the Colorado State Fair, into their art prize, in the digital selection criteria. When he entered this, he obviously didn't say that it was generated by AI, but he won the prize regardless. And then afterwards came out, there was a huge uproar, and it really did put into question, I guess, it really did begin to show that the creative industries could be touched by technology, which was something that I guess couldn't really be done previously just with behavioral AI.
Yeah. So there's lots of examples about this, and I suppose ChatGPT is the most well known at the moment. Bard is a system from Google that has also been released that does a similar thing to ChatGPT. There's other products available that do this creative work as well. Generative AI. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's GPT. It's a bit of a buzzword, but that's what it stands for. There are some really interesting things to sort of think about, but one of the things that a lot of organizations are looking at is how AI can be, or how generative AI can be used. And as there's McKinsey did a report recently, McKinsey, the consulting firm, did a report recently, and the quote here is about, all too often, as we talk about AI and generative AI, we jump to the conclusion of job loss. It's not so much about job loss. It's about adding to the ability, adding additional capability so that people can repurpose their time. It is a threat with a lot of businesses to people who are involved in manual processes. There's no point in denying it. So as business owners or business managers, we then say, okay, so what's going to happen here? And the answer is lots of change over the next few years. People are using this to accelerate what's going on, to automate what's going on. And the best way that people are finding to start in a lot of organizations is looking at manual processes and saying, okay, what can we do to improve that? Because that's really where generative AI comes into its own. Being able to speed up, add to, speed up, and potentially even automate the development of a lot of things that used to take hours or days or weeks. I guess that's pretty common, common knowledge. But when you sort of look at within your business and think, okay, what could we use this for? One of the first things to sort of think about is, what processes do we have that people actually spend time doing that we can start to improve? There's lots of ways of connecting in to these systems. Caleb's going to show you how some of the tools that people use are already enabled. Software products are being enabled to connect to generative AI, and the ability for generative AI to be able to do additional things within the chat interface. Caleb, you want to show the little demos there?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also really, really exciting, from both sides of the spectrum. When it comes to plugging into ChatGPT, obviously a range of big brands have already started doing this, just to, I guess, increase the functionality in here and to offer a better user experience. Again, basically what I've got here is GPT-4, which is the new version or the newest version of ChatGPT. And what they've just recently allowed and put out is this plugin ability. And what we've got here is Kayak, Expedia, and OpenTable, which you may or may not have used as a consumer or or even on your website, basically these are all plugged in, and this allows GPT to interface with the internet, which was previously not possible. What we can do with this is, it gets really exciting here. Let's say we could look to book a trip. I would like to go to, let's say, Italy for 5 days, and I would like some hotel and restaurant recommendations. Once again, the best thing about using ChatGPT or any kind of large language model that allows you to interface using natural language, if you don't spell something right, it still allows you to go, it still picks up on what you said and doesn't really question it. So let's say we're looking to visit Rome. What it's done here is basically, as well as having the current interface, it's pulling all the data from Expedia to basically give recommendations, but then also allow you to book directly through here instead of having to go and search for things yourself, which you would have previously had to do. I think this really does kind of show the future potential of AI, being able to use a platform like GPT to kind of do everything that you would have previously done through something like Google. And it really does show, how far it has come and how far it can go.
Okay. Good example. So that is using the ChatGPT interface, and which has got the Expedia plugin plugged into it, to then access Expedia info through ChatGPT and combine that with information that it then produces in an appropriately readable form, asking you what you think as well.
Absolutely. And if you just look here, basically it gives you the links here to book right then and there, which is just a real game changer.
Yeah, and as it says in the copy there, what do you think about these? The more you tell me about what you're looking for, the more I can help, and that's the clue, right? Okay, so that's that one.
Absolutely.
Caleb, you were going to show another demo of how people can integrate ChatGPT into a website.
Yes, and once again, this is another exciting thing. So obviously, if you were to build your own large language model or neural network, very costly and time consuming. The best thing about it is that ChatGPT allows you to use its API, and then allows you to use its system pretty much. This is a web app that that we've been building. It's a bit of a test, an internal kind of test. And as we come down here, it's a fitness app, and it basically works with OpenAI, using the API to create some kind of fitness plan. So let's say I want to work on, let's say, cardiovascular endurance. It generates a bit of a plan, and then it does take a second, as you saw with GPT, but it does pull up. It does basically then create something that looks like a really solid fitness plan. And it comes directly out of ChatGPT. And once again, as you said, Richard, the more that you interface with it and the more that you work with it, the better the recommendations will be, which is a really exciting prospect.
Good one. And the other thing you're going to demo is the interface that Shopify has with ChatGPT.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I mean, the problem is that they're all so new and so exciting kind of tools that you can use, and they really do revolutionize the way that you can work with the web. Sorry, I'm trying to bring up Shopify at the moment. Here we go. This is once again, these are predominantly internal. This is a what's it called, a charity brand that we run. If we go in here, basically Shopify obviously has the ability to create products, or has the ability to do a whole range of things, but and it's not just in products that they have AI kind of tools inbuilt. As you can see here, what we can do is, let's say we're creating a product that was a short sleeve t-shirt. Previously, it was very difficult and time consuming to create product descriptions, especially if you're new to e-commerce. So let's say we were creating a short sleeve t-shirt product. You could then come down here, and instead of having to create the description yourself, basically it gives you an interface where you can then create it yourself. Given that the brand is playful, it already picked up that we're here. And as you can see, let's say it is an organic cotton relaxed fit.
Can you put in large size, or something that's a bit unusual?
All right, oversized. What about bamboo? If anyone's got any bamboo t-shirts? Is that bamboo or BOO?
Double O.
BOO. Relaxed fit t-shirt.
There we go.
And then as you can see here, it's pushed out something. Pushed out. Maybe can't quite pick up bamboo, but I think that also comes to something that you're soon going to talk about, Richard, which is other limitations. But as you can see here, it does spit out a fairly good product description, which you can use in your shop. Obviously, you have the ability to edit it and change things as you go.
Yeah. So this is about software tools and platforms. Shopify being an e-commerce platform, being integrated through the API into a generative AI product, specifically in this case ChatGPT, and giving them the ability to shortcut and save time on manual processes that otherwise take a lot of time to get done. Alrighty, so there's a bit more. So, I mean, this is being used in lots of different ways by lots of different organizations. There's big businesses and small businesses. Mercedes are now incorporating ChatGPT into their vehicle production systems and into their cars. I was reading something the other day, an interview that was done by one of the CEO of Mercedes R&D for North America, who was talking about like one of the tests that they're running is having the ability to integrate it into the software that's in the Mercedes so that people can ask questions while they're on the road. A lot of people don't read a product manual, and so ChatGPT can read the product manual and it can be able to advise people information that is within the product manual, even while they're driving. But taking it to another level, what the Mercedes guy was talking about was envisaging down the track, maybe a couple of years, 5 years, whatever, and saying, imagine if your car software can read your calendar and can know where it is that you're going for a meeting tomorrow morning and can tell you the best way to go to the meeting. If you're in North America, as this was the example, and you're and it's snowing and you have to you've got to leave half an hour to get to the meeting, the car might automatically turn on the engine 15 minutes beforehand to warm up because it's snowing outside. It may also then provide you with information about the meeting that you're going to, and may give you some stuff that it's found on the internet to talk about at the meeting because it knows who you're meeting with, and the sort of the topic of the meeting. So integrating AI into a car is there's so much possibility, and that's kind of where Mercedes think it might go. Who knows? There's lots of examples. Duolingo is a product that helps people learn languages, and they've got now AI conversation partners to help people learn languages better and faster, and virtual tutors in the case of Udacity. So there's lots of examples, and like, where's this all going? Well, we can kind of use our imagination to go there. But what's available today in this world of generative AI are tools that we can use in business, customer support tools, for example. And there are a number of these. We've been looking into a few. I don't know, I think there's probably like 30 or 40 that are available, if not more, available on the market already, that are available to provide customer support that's AI enabled through the chat interface that you can plug into your website. There are various ones that we've been experimenting with. A few months ago, we got Chatbase and worked through it, and the results were not very impressive. In fact, it was very confusing and it didn't work so well. But just even in the last few months since we tested it, it's now improved and is now far more appropriate for use within small websites. There's one of the systems is Sidekick, and just to give you some information on Sidekick, it uses, as we've got up on the screen there at the moment, natural language processing. It can work with different languages. It can understand context. It integrates into knowledge bases of the individual business. It can understand the sentiment of how people are talking, whether it's positive, negative, whether they're angry, whether they're happy, whatever it might be. It's available 24/7. One of the issues with it, though, is that you've got to, if you're going to use it in your own organization or on your website for customers to access, then it's got to know enough about your business to be able to have knowledge about your business. And so where's it going to find that knowledge? Not only that, where's it going to store the knowledge? And as we've got there, in order for Sidekick to provide accurate and relevant info to your customers, you've got to upload your knowledge to the Sidekick platform. What level of information are you happy to have to write about your business and to have that as public knowledge about your business? Because this raises some really interesting and big points that we'll talk about in just a sec. Sidekick prides itself on being a customer service hero. It's pretty good, $100 a month US. So it's not an expensive tool, and it's the sort of thing that you can experiment with. And we're running various pilots for different clients at the moment, adding different tools onto websites to see how they work in different scenarios. Another one that we're looking at is Sienna. The interesting thing to then sort of look at, we've talked about behavioral and we've talked about generative. Some of the tools that are combining those two are now adding a whole lot of other capability into websites and into e-commerce stores. Are generally the ones that kind of can use this the best, where you can embrace the history that you know about, the behavioral history that you know about people coming onto your website and what they're buying, to then be able to generate stuff, whether it's product information, whether it's new content, whether it's descriptions that are automatically generating based on the behavior that someone's happening. So you can pre-write descriptions using AI, such as Caleb showed you with Shopify, but you can also use AI products to automatically, dynamically write product descriptions on the fly, so that each individual person is seeing a different product description that is prepared automatically just for them. And this is no. Does it always work? No. Is it going to work better in a year or two's time than it works today? Yes. We're running, as I said before, we're running pilot programs on some of this stuff now. So if you want to know more about that, please get in touch. Caleb, do you want to ask it? Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that you've summarized it clearly. I think the main thing about it is, as you said, it's constantly changing, and these tools are constantly getting better and better. And as we said, things plug into ChatGPT. Things will soon potentially not plug into ChatGPT, and they might build their own neural networks as well. And that's it. Is that there's just so much change that's occurring that I think it's important to, like, for people like us to keep on top of it and to be continuously testing as many tools that we can to ensure that we are offering good solutions, because there are so many coming out.
Yeah, and not all of them do what they say on the box.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. I think that you really need to have a good understanding of where the shortfalls are, because there are shortfalls, and if you can circumvent them, that's the dream.
Yeah, another tool, AI tool that we find helpful within our business, and that you may find helpful within yours, what the category is: AI-enabled meeting summary software, right? So these are tools that can summarize an online meeting and essentially take notes for you of your meeting that you have run. Given the ability for people to we use Google Meet. We also use Zoom. We have clients who use Microsoft Teams. There are various other software, such as WebEx, that are meeting software that people now, obviously, for the last few years, COVID, thank you, people now are more accustomed to running online meetings. And so various tools have been developed to summarize these meetings and keep track of them. One of the tools that we want to show you today is Read. Read is actually free. You can pay to get a more muscly version of it, but it's a freemium product. And so it's really something that is worth having a look at. Even if you decide not to use it, have a look at it. Caleb's going to just give you a little interface look there.
No, absolutely. This is a really exciting one, especially for people like me who hate having to take the notes and love receiving something that's concise at the end.
Yeah.
This is an absolute game changer. I mean, like I said, these tools are revolutionary, like things that you wouldn't have expected coming out, especially not now in 2023. You wouldn't have imagined them 5 years ago. But this Read AI tool is great. And the problem is that unfortunately, because we obviously can't be showing the meeting notes, which was a bit annoying, but basically the notes that it creates, this tool basically records the entire meeting. It then pulls out the highlights of the meeting in video. It creates an overview, which every single time we've reviewed it has been very clear and actually is what the meeting was about. It then gives you action points, questions asked, and follow-ups. And it can send all of that to all the participants in the meeting if you want to. It's really exciting because it really does save you a lot of time. And that is really what these tools are about. Not just that, as you can see, I think recommendations are a really good one. And what's it called? And analytics. Like, as you can see here, in terms of clarity, it looks at clarity, which is talking pace, and filler words, which luckily I'm looking fairly good on. But as you can see here, we go down and it even looks at things like non-inclusive terms, which are things like just even like regular swear words, things like that, interruptions. And then this is where it gets really exciting, is it can look at bias and charisma, and it can really dive deep into the kind of sentiment in the meeting as well. So the level of depth that it dives into, and as Richard said, it's a free product, and the level of setup is not very difficult. So it's a real easy and quick and simple one to get moving with AI without a lot of barriers.
Yeah. And so it not only records your meetings for you, and as Caleb said, it summarizes them into action points and allocates actions to individuals who are in the meeting, or who you said in the meeting you want to allocate an action to. But as Caleb's got on screen in a minute, it'll also coach you to say, how can you be better in meetings? And it's like, wow, shit, where's this going? So, and that's a tool that you can pay for, but you don't have to pay for. It's free to use. And
up to an hour in meetings.
Yeah, exactly. The free version will come up to an hour long. Will cover a meeting up to an hour long. And if you want to have longer meetings that you record, then you pay for that. So some tips. Some tips for selecting tools. One of the things we've been selecting AI tools for a while now. And some of them are really easy to set up, really easy to use, easy to understand, and some of them are bloody complicated, where they don't need to be, but they just are. They kind of have not got friendly interfaces. And so if you find something that's really easy to use and does a good job, then that's great. If you find something that's not easy to use, then obviously you probably won't use it. And those products that don't have easy, good interfaces will not survive very long. One of the things that we've talked about before, but a lot of the software that you already use will be enabled with AI. Either it already is, it's being added to it, or it will be soon. If it's not, it just won't survive. So think about how you're going to be selecting tools. You don't have to go looking for new tools, because a lot of the software that you already use will sooner or later have it in there. I guess testing these things is the key. A lot of the software, especially in customer support related products, looks like, and whether if you use Shopify for a website, for example, there are a lot of systems that just plug straight into Shopify. WordPress, similarly, if you've got a e-commerce store that's built in an alternate sort of system, that's something that's maybe a bit old and hasn't been kept up to date with, then you may find it a lot harder to get value out of AI products, because it does take a lot of development work to integrate these tools into it. At least that's how it usually is. But those that do seem to be plug and play need to plug into somewhere. And this is the point we're looking at here. So when something plugs in, where is it going to find your data and find the data on your business in order to then be able to provide AI-enabled, empowered help for people who want to ask questions of your business, whether it's customers wanting to ask questions or whether it is your staff wanting to ask questions of your business. So where's it going to find the data? With an e-commerce site, it can generally find the data pretty easily within the product catalog and the whole order trail around that. Within a business that is, for example, a manufacturer of unique products that has unique product-related IP, intellectual property, where is that information going to be? Has it even been documented already? If it has, then where is it? And do you want to actually share this information? When you load your knowledge base into an AI system, it's probably not going to be stored within Australia. It's going to be kept somewhere on some server somewhere else. And sometime you've got to ask the question, who else is going to have access to that? What are they going to be seeing about our business? And what are we prepared to give away intellectual property into a database that someone else could have? These are real questions that organizations are asking today, and there is no really good answer. Even the assurance that you're going to have, given by the chat people, it's just it's something that it does
pose, do your own research and look at it. Absolutely,
it does pose risks to business, and so the more that you need to train a bot, an AI-enabled bot, on your data, the more you've got to ask your question: where is the data, and are we prepared to share it? Another thing to think about from a risk perspective is that chatbots make stuff up. They generate,
as you saw in the Shopify example.
Yeah, it gets stuff wrong sometimes, and it makes stuff up. And one of the really interesting examples that happened back in May of this year was, this is a report from the New York Times. You can Google this and you can read this yourself. A lawyer made up a lawyer used ChatGPT to make up the submissions that they were putting in for a court case where a bloke was suing an airline. And the lawyers submitted a 10-page brief that ChatGPT had prepared, and it actually included decisions about previous court cases that the lawyer was quoting and citing to use as precedent when the guy was suing the airline, which all sounds very well, and it looked really impressive. Except as we got from the New York Times, there was just one hitch. No one, not the airline's lawyers, not even the judge, could find the decisions or the quotations cited and summarized in the brief. This was because ChatGPT had invented everything. And the lawyer didn't check. He just thought he was bloody clever, saving time by getting the system to prepare his brief for him. And he submitted it without checking any of this himself. The judge tried to check. The airline's lawyers tried to check, and all of this was just made up, which is like an outstanding cock-up on behalf of the lawyer, but something that made global headlines when people realized that these chat products generate text, and that means making stuff up. So one of the things that we say, that we sort of need to point out to ourselves as well as to you and anyone else, is don't assume that what you see in ChatGPT as a fact actually is a fact. Caleb, you want to add to that?
No, I think it's pretty clear. I do think it needs. I do think platforms like ChatGPT definitely are the ones that are the large language models that allow for huge amounts of data like that, and public access are definitely the ones that are more likely to get it wrong as well. More specialized neural networks are the ones that are less likely to get it wrong, and that's why, as you said before, Richard, it's about training AI on your data, and the more data that you have, the better the answers that it can give.
We've just seen in the chats, there are some, in the questions, there's a question. Thanks, Kirsten. But basically, would you think that one day Outlook is going to be integrated with Bing, and so this may make Google a thing from the past? And the answer is, there's lots of things that might make Google a thing from the past, but Google itself is enabling its own AI chatbot Bard into Google search, and so Google is going to be empowering itself using AI in ways, and Google's got access to this huge index, as does Bing. So yeah, your point about Microsoft 365 using Bing Chat, it's integrating in. Outlook is going to be enabled with lots of smarts. So where's it all going? One day, making Google potentially redundant. Certainly Microsoft would like that. Microsoft right now are involved giving evidence against Google in an antitrust action in the States, where Google has got way too much power, according to Microsoft. And so, yeah, watch this space. Eleanor, you asked a question, thinking your website and LinkedIn profile, linking to your website and LinkedIn profile is a good starting point. Yeah, I mean, it's the starting point will vary depending on different businesses and what you're trying to achieve. But yeah, so probably need to talk about that one in a bit more detail, I think. If anyone's got any other questions, then please feel free to contact us or pop them into the chat. There are some more tools that we haven't really got time to go through, but there are some here to check out that may be of interest to you, to develop product images, product videos, product descriptions. Some people sell on Amazon, and CopyMonkey is a tool there. There's just so much happening. This really is exploding. We're not buying into the hype of it all. What we are buying into is the reality of it. And the reality of it is that it's happening whether you like it or not. It's happening whether you embrace it or not. And if you're not embracing it, and again, not trying to scare, but if you're not embracing it and your competitor is, then what advantage is that going to give your competitor over you? And, you know, we've been watching this sort of, oh gosh, for a long time now, and seeing how some businesses get ahead with technology and others don't, others fall behind. And it's really important to sort of figure out where you are in the race. One of the sort of expressions that we talk about is it's important to be at the leading edge, but not at the bleeding edge. And so understanding where you are in your business is and how you can use these tools without hurting from using these tools is really important. That's probably about it with our Concise webinar. Thank you very much for attending. I hope this has been of interest to you. We'd love to hear from you with other questions. Caleb, you got anything you want to add to wrap up?
No, I think it's been wrapped up quite clearly and concisely. Thank you, Richard. It's been great to do this.
Thanks, Caleb, and thanks for your demos and your contribution. And we're going to be running more webinars with you, which is good. Thank you. So yeah, if you've got any questions on any of this stuff, please let us know. As I say, we are experimenting with a lot of it. We don't pretend to be technical experts in all of it, because no one is. But what we are looking at is how it can be used in business to make a real difference. And so there's lots of tools, lots of things happening, and it's changing every bloody day. So there you go. Okay, please get in touch, Caleb at concise.digital or Richard at concise.digital if you want to know more, or give us a phone call. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for participating, and let's wrap up. Thank you. See you.